paid too much, 11% are paid too little, and 11% are, strictly speaking, not eligible for welfare payments at all. If these figures stun you, be advised the rate of error nationwide is not much better.
It is Monday morning, and for 55,000 American women, Monday begins this way. There's no such thing as a blue Monday in Tupperware. For these women, all of whom sell Tupperware in their spare time, seem less like saleswomen than they do crusaders, marching as to war to liberate the American kitchen and recruit the American housewife.
The other great maestros are gone. Toscanini, Beecham, Klemperer, Furtwängler, Kusevitsky. But here is Stokowski with his silver mane. Old Stokey still at it, making beautiful music.
I'm what's known as egocentric. It's a disease, a mental disease. I'm egocentric.
I'm Mike Wallace.
I'm Morley Safer.
I'm Dan Rather. In a moment, those stories and more tonight on 60 Minutes.
This portion of 60 Minutes is sponsored by Honeywell.
Someday, there'll be an automatic system that manages all the energy for an entire building. It'll figure out exact needs based on time of day, outside temperature, and other information, and respond precisely, saving up to 30% in energy. That someday is today at Honeywell. Write us. We'll tell you how it works. Someday, there'll be a control system that'll make it much easier to build and operate oil refineries and other processing plants. Because of its digital technology, this system will optimize refinery and plant production, getting the most out of limited supplies of oil and other energy sources. That someday is today at Honeywell. Write us at Honeywell. We'll tell you how it works.
The welfare mess. Everyone admits the system is in chaos. President Carter labeled the current situation hopeless, and he came up with a complicated reform package that will keep the Congress debating and various pressure groups pulling and hauling for at least a couple of years. More about that later. As background to the president's proposals, take a look at a report we did 2 years ago when we zeroed in on the welfare mess in Massachusetts. In this bank of computers, the names of more than 1 million people, 1 out of every 6 people who live in Massachusetts, men, women, and children who are on some form of the public dole, from food stamps to general relief to Medicaid. 15,000 welfare checks a day are spewed out of this room in a crazy quilt of assistance programs that have grown like topsy through the years, until, says Massachusetts Governor Michael Dukakis, the cost of welfare threatens to break this state's financial back.
When a welfare recipient comes here to the DES, the Division of Employment Security, to pick up his check, he's supposed to be directed to available jobs. If he doesn't take one of those jobs, he's thrown off the rolls. That's the theory. But there's so much confusion, so much paperwork, and so little staff here at the DES that there is no one available to match these unemployed people with employers who have jobs for them. So people on relief just sign in, pick up the checks, and leave. Joe Walsh has seen it all. He is the regional head of the DES in Boston.
There are jobs in the state of Massachusetts.
There are.
Going begging.
Going begging.
Not being filled because.
Not being filled because there are no takers.
People would rather be on the dole.
It would appear that way.
And you're sure of what you're saying?
Positive.
Hi.
Hi.
What kind of work would you like? What can we do for you as far as, you know?
Well, anything that's basically paying enough so I can make a living, decent living.
Okay.
To back up his claim, Joe Walsh cites what happened recently when the DES brought in 4 extra workers to do nothing but match people on relief with available jobs. The result? 1 out of 6 people on relief refused jobs or job counseling point blank. Of those who said okay, they'd go out to see about a specific opening. More than half either didn't show up at the employer's office or refused work once they got there.
Huh? You already felt it. How about any chances for work probably in the same line in the near future, or is it hard to predict?
The fact is, though generally they are very tough to come by, there are some jobs available in Boston. Some menial, some semi-skilled, some that require a lot of hustle, like driving a cab. Only 2 blocks from the DES office is the Checker Cab Company, which says it has 150 jobs every day. It's not the safest job, but the man who does the hiring, Barry Sullivan, says a driver can take home at least $120 a week.
You have 150 jobs and can't fill them.
That's right.
Now, the DES office is just 2 blocks away from here.
That's right.
Well, don't they refer people who are out of work to you here?
They refer probably 30, 40 people during the course of 2 weeks, and out of the 30 or 40, maybe 2 or 3 show.
They just don't come over?
No, they don't show up.
The government is supporting these people. Why should they work?
Talk to a group of Checker cab drivers who've just come in from a tough 10 hours on the Boston streets, and you get a feeling for the cynicism about welfare, including many misconceptions that you hear all across the country.
When you go down to department stores, they go in with welfare checks. These, they buy the best items in the place. Any girl that works down there will tell you that.
Is there something criminal about it?
No, it's not criminal. No. It's easier than working.
I know maybe 2 or 3 people that are collecting under 2 names.
There's plenty of cab drivers out there who take welfare and get paid under the table. But,
wait a minute. Not that anybody's going to tell me, but is there anybody in this room who drives a cab who's also on welfare? Yes?
I was.
While we were at the cab company, we ran into a fellow we'd seen earlier picking up his relief check. He'd come here to go to work. He told us he'd had another cab driving job earlier, but continued picking up his welfare check at the same time, and that he'd also failed to report the money his parents had been sending him regularly from New Jersey. He said the welfare worker hadn't asked him any of this when he signed up for relief.
He showed me there was a group of papers, so I signed them. You know, and he asked me, do you want food stamps? So I said, yes. And that was it.
The fact is, it's pretty easy to rip
easy.
off the system.
Sure. Everybody else is doing it. You know, why not?
You're going to pick up your last welfare check tomorrow?
Yes. Why not?
$83.20. No sweat.
Very easy.
You take it across the street?
First National City Bank. Right across the street in the corner.
Cash it?
Yeah.
Go on about your business.
That's it. This is the last one, though, thank God.
But it wasn't the last one. 2 weeks later, we learned he was back to get another relief check, and he is still driving a cab. Outside that DES office, you can run into some fairly candid talk about welfare rip-offs from people who are doing it themselves.
I swear to God, I'm pulling in over 20 grand a year. And this is no vote.
You pull in how much?
Over 20 grand a year.
On welfare and cash?
Yeah, I drive around in a brand new car, brand new Oldsmobile. And I collect unemployment. I have been for the last year. My wife's been collecting welfare. They don't know it.
This man and his wife are playing one of the oldest welfare games. In order to collect welfare payments, his wife told the welfare agency that she had been deserted by her husband. In fact, her husband had signed up for unemployment insurance, and he continued to live at home.
When you add it all together, you get unemployment of $95 a week.
Yeah.
Your wife gets
$130.75 every 2 weeks, plus $100 every 3 months, plus the food stamps.
And you make money on the side in cash.
And like I worked yesterday. I put in a walk yesterday. I told you I made a Mendocino for the day.
You made $100 yesterday in cash, and you don't even have to pay your taxes on that.
Believe me, 90% of these people in here got something on the side. You can't live on $38 a week. I can't even. That won't even run the gas in my car.
So you rip off the system, they rip off the system, and can you imagine why people are mad about welfare?
I know it.
And you used to be mad about welfare when you were working and paying your taxes.
Right, but I've got it all back.
You got all your taxes back.
Every penny of it.
In the middle of this conversation, a taxi cab pulled up in front of the welfare office, and a new recipient got out.
Sir?
Yeah?
You're on welfare?
Yes, I am.
And yet you take a cab?
No, I just came out. I came out of jail. I just got out of jail.
You just got out of jail?
Yeah.
But you take a cab to the welfare office? It's been labeled the welfare mess, and the fact is that the welfare system in Massachusetts and much of the country is so overloaded, so confused, that just about anyone who wants to, it seems, can rip the system off. One of the busiest offices in the Massachusetts welfare system is this Roxbury Crossing Welfare Office. They handle as many as 16,000 welfare cases here. Food stamps, aid to families of dependent children, general relief. The social workers here say they are bending under the load. Each one of them handles up to 175 welfare families. The upshot? Money handed out week after week with nobody checking to see if the recipient is still eligible or not. Face-to-face meetings between welfare workers and their clients often take place only once a year, though federal and state guidelines say they should take place every few months. The welfare worker drowns in a torrent of paper, an incredible welter of forms, regulations, guidelines, confusing, contradictory, so that these overworked and underpaid, often inexperienced young social workers can't help making mistakes. The record shows errors in almost half of all the welfare payments in Massachusetts. A quarter of the cases are paid too much, 11% are paid too little, and 11% are, strictly speaking, not eligible for welfare payments at all. If these figures stun you, be advised the rate of error nationwide is not much better. Once a month, the welfare workers at the Roxbury Crossing office meet to hear about new regulations and to air their gripes. They invited us to listen to what was on their minds.
It's a necessary thing. Welfare is the best thing in the world used right. There's nothing better than welfare. Giving a helping hand is a very important thing to a human being.
Well, how did it get into the mess it apparently is in?
Due to the fact that there's a rip-off artist that's got to take advantage even of poverty.
The American people, 220 million of them, out there watching this, are going to say, look, I pay my taxes, I try to do what's right and so forth, and I believe that I'm getting ripped off by people on welfare. How much of that, honest to God, you people know better than anybody else, how much of that belief is true?
If I lived in a project, okay, and I only got $200 or $300 a month, and I had the chance to go out and better myself and earn some extra income, and know that the system, which is at fault, would not be checking on me, I'd sure as hell do it. And I know anybody else in the room who had this situation would do the same thing.
Everybody wants to get out, but you have no place to send them. There's no place for these people to go. So you tell them you can't help them. So what do? One lady comes in and she says, I need emergency assistance for furniture. I come to her house, I see she needs the furniture, and I put in for it, and she gets it. And then a month later, I find out she sold the furniture so she could get out of that project, so she could move to Florida and get out of that stinking project. And that's the kind of fraud that goes on.
That's a very tiny percent, contrary to what the newspapers seem to imply. And you never hear in the newspapers about the people, the day-by-day people who are very honest. I mean, I used to have clients call me to tell me they had a lunch job as a lunch mother in a school for 2 hours.
Why are we so concerned about somebody that's getting $3,000 a year and may make an extra $100? I mean, why are we so worried about that $100?
Because they're easy to attack, they have no clout.
True.
Doesn't the whole country need a certain reform, you know? Right. The immorality that stems from the top with senators and representatives and the illegal staffs that corporations hire to set up their special loopholes so that they rip off the country by the billions, by the millions and the billions. It stems down from the top. Everybody wants a piece of the action, down to the welfare clients.
I'm a child welfare worker, and I get to pick up the wreckage of what this system does. We've got clients that have to decide if they're going to pay their rent or feed their kids. Clients that can't let their kids out of the house if they live in the project. And that mother finally breaks. She ends up in a mental hospital. The kids end up in foster homes or in group care facilities at $10,000 a year because we make these people feel like trash. Because no one gives a damn.
Massachusetts' new welfare commissioner, Jerry Stevens, was brought in by the governor from the world of finance to try to bring some order, some economy out of chaos.
any system that's established where huge amount of monies are being spent without the normal tensions and checks that occur in a well-run system create huge frauds and huge abuses, and that's certainly the case here.
I would hope that eventually the whatever little fraud there is would be cut down. I think the big area to work in is on vendor fraud.
Vendor fraud.
Vendor fraud is hospitals, doctors, drugstores, right.
Of the millions paid out monthly by the state welfare agency to vendors, the greatest amount goes from medical payments to nursing homes, hospitals, doctors, and pharmacies. And a recent report says those medical payments include rip-offs on a grand scale.
Commissioner, your report says that you might be able to save up to $600,000 a year by getting rid of unnecessary tonsillectomies. Millions by not paying for recipients in high-priced teaching hospitals. More than $1 million by saving on unnecessary prescriptions. All accurate?
All accurate.
Commissioner, the Welfare Department study says general relief is seen by hospitals as a funding mechanism for hospitals. What does that mean?
That means that we have clear evidence that hospitals are providing unnecessary surgery to general relief recipients. We have indications that hospitals in some cases are seeking welfare clients to fill beds that otherwise might go empty.
You mean the doctors are going to practice on these fellows?
Some hospitals have teachers, residents, and interns who do need to practice operations. And we are finding that our GR recipients are being used for such practices.
And the Department of Welfare pays the bill?
The Department of Public Welfare pays bills that are presented by the hospital.
We all know there's an amount of fraud going on in welfare, all right? But you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater to get at the cheat and chiseler. You just don't do it that way. The problem in our society is that we haven't come to grips with the fact that individuals cannot, because of a lot of reasons outside of their control, whether it's lack of education, lack of housing, lack of you name it, they can't. They need help, okay? We have never come to grips as a society that there are people who need help and they have a right to this kind of help.
I'd be kind of curious to know what the attitude of you people is about that. Is welfare a right? Is it a privilege?
I don't think we can honestly answer that question, either the people here or the people out there, until you begin to say, well, is there a right to work? Is there a right to daycare if you're a working mother? We've never said that in that country. We've never said that a man or woman who wants to work, who can work, has a right to a job. And until we make that kind of collective decision, we're going to go on with the kind of system we have now. And no one defends it.
President Carter's welfare proposals aim not only at a worker's right to a job, he wants to make sure that welfare recipients work when those jobs become available. And to that end, he proposes that the government create 1.4 million new jobs at a minimum wage. If a welfare recipient turned down a job, his benefits would be reduced. The only ones exempt from working would be the elderly, the disabled, and welfare mothers with children under 6. Another aim of the Carter program is a guaranteed annual income for welfare recipients. For a family of 4 with no other income, the guarantee would be $4,200 a year. Congressional opponents of the president's program are complaining it would cost too much. The labor unions are complaining that the minimum wage provision of the jobs program could create second-class citizens who could be hired at low pay. And finally, many observers worry that the new paperwork, the new bureaucracy spawned by the whole thing, would make the present welfare mess look tame by comparison. It seems a safe bet that the welfare mess is not going to go away quickly.
Hey, look. New action for the cat set. Our new symbol of driving excitement. Mercury Cougar XR7. And now, 4-door Cougars, sporty Cougar wagons, trim hardtops, smartly priced at $47.91 with V8, automatic transmission, power brakes, and steering. Come join the cat set. Catch a Cougar of your own.
A television premiere with the impact of Star Wars. Michael York is Logan, with Richard Jordan, and making a rare appearance this season, Farrah Fawcett Majors.
Terminator.
They say Logan's time is up, but Logan has just begun to live. A fantastic Academy Award winner, Logan's Run,
Who would have thought that the buying and selling of plastic food containers could become a national pastime? But that's exactly what's happened with a product called Tupperware. You can't buy Tupperware at a store. You can only get it by going to what is called a Tupperware party, an event staged in a neighbor's home. We'd heard a lot about Tupperware, but knew little about it. So back in 1975, just before the bicentennial year began, an important year for Tupperware, we went to take a look. We entered what turned out to be the mad, mad world of Tupperware.
It is Monday morning, and for 55,000 American women, Monday begins this way. There's no such thing as a blue Monday in Tupperware. For these women, all of whom sell Tupperware in their spare time, seem less like saleswomen than they do crusaders, marching as to war to liberate the American kitchen and recruit the American housewife. Tupperware's reach is global, the feeling universal. In Japan, they say, sono Tupperware no kimochi. In Italy, they say, sento Tupperware nel mio cuore.
I think it's the one piece of Tupperware that you really can use.
In Britain, as you might expect, they say the sun never sets on Tupperware. And indeed, it doesn't. There are 3 million Tupperware parties a year, one every 10 seconds. Right now, someone, somewhere, is having one.
The yellow canister.
Tupperware is sold in 33 countries, and in all of them, the product can only be purchased at a party in someone's home. It may be the most brilliant marketing scheme ever devised, for it's based less on sales pitch than friendship.
First of all, I'd like to have one volunteer.
First thing I want to do is thank all of you for coming to the party tonight. And I especially want to thank our hostess, Ivy. Ivy, will you come up here a minute?
This is how it works. A dealer like Patty Hurley of Atlanta gets a friend like Mrs. Ivy Walsh to have a party and invite her friends. The hostess gets a gift for her trouble.
Maybe some of you have parties and have been aware of it before, but in this case, we're going to give her some teaspoons and a shoehorn to help her get
Mrs. Hurley makes a profit of 25% on anything the guests order. At most parties, that amounts to about $25. So her income depends on the number of parties she arranges.
My name is Patty, and I like parties. Then we're going to start over here, and she's going to say her name and what she likes. It can be anything.
I'm Frances, and I like fudge.
Well, I'm Dot, and I like drinking.
Oh.
No two Tupperware parties are exactly alike, but they do follow a pattern wherever they're held. The opening movements are games designed to get people to drop their inhibitions, make each woman feel as foolish as the next one.
But in the rush, Ma fidget,
and the twins, and baby fidget.
Good.
Young game, Chucky.
6. La 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 la.
He all bad, bad.
You're going to take it by the tab, and you're going to set it down on top of the bowl, and you're going to walk your fingers around. Now, I want you to watch, because you're going to mess it all up if you don't. Now, you take your other fingers, and you push them down in the middle, and let the air out. That's a whisper. If you don't whisper your bowl, you're going to keep doing it until you do.
Demonstrate one more time.
Oh, one more time. All right. You got your seal?
They used to call this bowl burping. With success, it became bowl whispering.
Till it's over, and then you're going to go.
Tupperware's patented seal creates a near vacuum in the bowl, enough to keep food fresher than other bowls. But the process made it a troublesome item to sell in stores. So back in the 50s, Earl Tupper took his bowls off the shelves and put them right into the consumer's hands, turning a cumbersome product into a party game, made a virtue of bowl burping, and founded a multi-million-dollar business.
There we go. Okay.
That's right.
4 6-ounce decorator tumblers, 3 2-quart pitcher sandalwood.
In many families, what started as a little indulgence for the little woman has become full-time work for the family.
3 dipping serves and an egg tray.
Patty's husband, Bill, a laid-off airline pilot, devotes more and more of his time to Tupperware. They hope to become distributors.
Red, white, and blue. Brand new steel and serve bowls with a new duo seal from Tupperware.
The distributorship is the big apple of Tupperware. Diane and Ken Fleshman of McDonald, Pennsylvania, are one of 300 franchised Tupperware distributors in the United States.
The turkey. The Indian. Or the pilgrim. Let's give Carol a nice big Tupper high. Hi, Carol. Welcome aboard.
When Monday comes, Monday where you can't wait to get up and come to assembly and see what's going to happen. You've got excited people who had a great week in Tupperware, and they're depending on me and their fellow Tupperware people to train them, to learn something new, to motivate them, to send them out thinking that they're the greatest Tupperware people in the world. And I feel that every Tupperware dealer somewhere, she never gets applauded for cleaning the house or, honey, I'm glad you cleaned the floor. That's just expected of her. That's part of her job as a mother and a housewife. But she can also do more than that. She can be a Tupperware dealer, and we do recognize her for accomplishments.
Dottie Busack of the Lucky Charms. Congratulations. Beautiful week, Linda. And for Murphy
Ken Fleshman was an inspector for an electric company when Diane became a Tupper person. But quickly he realized that there was more gold in plastic containers than public utilities.
She receives her very own beaming director's chair.
He only performs when we just do a super job. And I'd like to announce our sales for this week of $45,000. And he's happy.
The fun is the name of the game. In fact, if the guys at the utility company could see me today standing on this stage in front of all these guys, they just would shake their head in disbelief.
Turkeys up nice and high.
The Fleshmans have turned all this fun into annual sales of $2 million. They like to keep their profits a secret, but the source of their success is no secret. It is the great American housewife turned super saleswoman. At the very pinnacle of Tupper life is this man, Joe Harrah, president of Tupperware Home Parties. Here at World Headquarters in Florida, he welcomes a group from Tupperware, Venezuela. They gather at Friendship Fountain for a Tupper tribute, all of them filled with that Tupperware feeling.
A la una, a las dos, a las tres.
Do you ever find it a bit corny?
No, I don't find it corny at all. We have an expression in Tupperware called fun in the family. It's abbreviated by FIF. And we believe that whatever you do, you should enjoy doing.
All right, Tupperware makes a useful, very good product, brilliant marketing system, loyal, enthusiastic staff. How profitable is it?
Well, it is a very profitable business. But when I speak about a profitable business, certainly I want to say I'm not going to talk about numbers to you, but I can tell you this, that we believe that it's every company's responsibility to make a good profit. But we do.
According to Business Week magazine, Tupperware's sales are well over $300 million a year, and their profits a stunning 30%.
Would $100 million in profit be an outlandish figure?
Forgive me, Morley, but that figure that we make as a profit is a classified one.
As befits the spiritual center of Tupperware, things here at World Headquarters are done on a grand scale. In 1960, for example, 1,000 people, painting by the numbers, created a portrait of President Eisenhower 6 stories high. In 1974, there was a competition between Tupperware United States and Tupperware Team. That's Tupperware Europe, Africa, and Middle East, Team, to see which could hold the most parties in a single week in January. To inspire the United States effort, an event called the Greatest in Tupperware's History took place right here.
We're gonna rally round the flag and show the whole world that we're gonna win. By holding parties, we will show that we care. In Tupperware, we're doing our share. We're gonna rally round the flag.
76,325 Tupperware bowls.
Reach the challenge with 3 parties. 3 cheer for the red, white, and blue. So let's all rally round the flag and show the whole world who's the best. You know in Tupperware we're proud to say we're the USA.
Sad to say, the United States lost in 1974 and again in a rematch in 1975. But 1976 is the bicentennial year, a year in which the United States must win.
With the inscription, "Let Freedom Ring 1976 Tupperware." Aren't they beautiful?
We've got the spirit, the Tupperware spirit, the Tupperware spirit of 76. Tell everyone to be proud of it too. Proud of the red, white, and blue. Hold high our banner, our Tupperware banner, a symbol of liberty. We've got the Tupper spirit deep in our hearts. We're gonna tell everyone that we see.
These are Pinto and Bobcat engines on their way to the hot test. No engine gets to be a Ford, Mercury, or Lincoln engine till it passes these 10 tough tests. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every engine has to pass these 10 final tests, or it don't get to go in a Ford Motor Company car. Bye. It's simple. Ford wants to be your car company.
Someday, there'll be a low-cost computer network sharing information distributed between factories and offices many miles apart. Each computer will operate independently, yet transmit data throughout the entire network. And businesses can tailor these computers to their operation instead of tailoring their operation to the computers. That someday is today at Honeywell. Write us at Honeywell. We'll tell you how it works. Someday, there'll be a revolutionary computer printer that'll print a page at a time instead of a line at a time. It'll print a page faster than you can blink your eye, fast enough to print a 50-page report in 15 seconds. And it'll print these pages in a standard size. That someday is today at Honeywell. Write us at Honeywell. We'll tell you how it works.
This portion of 60 Minutes was sponsored by Honeywell. 60 Minutes, a CBS News weekly magazine, will continue.
Monday, a special preview of the winning new family series, The Fitzpatricks.
You know how much the Derby means to me.
A story of boy-girl rivalry and parents who aren't always perfect.
Let me give you some advice about women, son.
The Fitzpatricks, followed by Rafferty.
Tomorrow at 9, 8 Central in the Mountain on CBS.
Let yourself go to Pizza Hut.
Bernard. Bianca. Orville. The
stars of Walt Disney Studios' new animated movie, The Rescuers, are on special glasses at Pizza Hut. Buy a 59-cent Pepsi and keep the glass. A different one every week.
When you're laughing and smiling and shooting the breeze, when you want to let loose and be as free as you please, let yourself go to Pizza Hut.
Southern Colorado's Top Gun Williams 45.
Now, and for a limited time only, you can enjoy a $400 cash rebate on one of the more than 70 remaining 77 Vegas and Monzas, equipped with a Chevrolet 140 cubic inch 4-cylinder engine. Pick up $400 at Western National Bank, or apply the $400 to reduce the purchase price of the down payment. Williams 45 is loaded with values.
KKTV, Colorado Springs, Pueblo.